So a few months ago, I put out a short video about my experiences and thoughts during the run-up to grading at kickboxing. So back then, I was due to be graded to yellow belt. Well, 3 months have passed, and guess what? I've been graded once again, this time to yellow belt green stripe. So the way it works at my MMA academy is they have an additional grading. They have a stripe belt grading in between the full colour belts. So every 3 months we'll have a grading, and what that means is we'll have a new set of goals to work towards without having to wait too long in between gradings, which I think is a great idea, because it gives us as students an idea of how we are getting on and learning things, and it also gives the instructors of the academy a good idea of how we are progressing. Anyway, at the MMA academy I go to, we're not really allowed to spar up until we reach the yellow belt green stripe grade. Up until this point, we obviously learn all the different techniques, and once we've got a good understanding of the fundamentals of kickboxing, then we're allowed to spar. And I guess one of the reasons for this is so that people don't spar too early when they don't quite have a good grasp of the basics, and then possibly end up getting injured, which may then make them question whether kickboxing is for them or not. They may even disappear, never to be seen again. And I'm quite sure that would probably have happened to me if I was allowed to spar too early. So some academies may allow you to spar earlier, but the academy I go to, they want to make sure that you're ready. And I think this is a great idea. So last week, we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to learn with the American mixed martial artist Erik Paulson, and it was awesome. And this guy really knows his stuff, and so he should. He's been practicing mixed martial arts since he was 8 years old, and he's also the founder of Combat Submission Wrestling and STX Kickboxing. So it was at Erik's seminar that I sparred for the first time. Erik had everybody sparring, including the lower grades, and also regardless of whether you had shin guards and mouth guards or not. So this practice was totally alien to our academy, but it was good fun. I was really apprehensive to start with. Obviously, it's the first time I'd sparred. In fact, I absolutely loved it. I actually really surprised myself. I honestly thought I was going to get my head pounded, and I thought I wouldn't remember anything that I'd been learning over the last year. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised. In a way, it kind of felt as though lots of techniques and combos that I had learned over the past year, I did put these into practice without even thinking about it. It almost felt as though I just went into autopilot and started kind of practicing some of these techniques and combinations that I'd been learning. The only thing I really had to think about was timing. So pretty much making sure I got out of the way of the other guy's punches or kicks, and I timed it correctly to come back in with counterattacks. So that was pretty much the only thing I felt as I had to really focus on. But in terms of the techniques and the combos, they just seemed to come to me so, I wouldn't say naturally, but a lot more fluidly than I thought they would. But don't get me wrong, I was far from perfect. In hindsight, looking back, I must have looked like a complete newbie at sparring, and obviously I was. But I did get smacked in the head a few times. I even took a kick to the side of the head, but fortunately they weren't too powerful, so it's not like I came out with a black eye or anything like that. But the main reason I probably looked like such a newbie was because I was going in far too hard with punches and kicks. I'm not proud of it. We're sparring, we're there to learn with our partner, not to try and beat them to death. I found myself at times flying in with some really hard kicks and a barrage of punches, which just totally pissed the other guy off, which obviously and fairly made him in return retaliate and come back to me with some really hard kicks. And at one point, even Erik Paulson pulled me up about my kicks being a little too hard. It's not that I was being a dick or anything. I'm not proud of it. I actually do feel quite bad. I think the reason for that happening was because I wasn't controlling or couldn't control my power. So I was going in thinking I was about to do a fairly light kick, and then suddenly, wham! Oops! That was a lot harder kick than I'd intended it to be. So yes, definitely something I need to work on is controlling my power. A few of the other guys have actually said to me, Johnny, you don't realise how strong you are sometimes. So definitely something I need to work on. And the other thing I need to work on is just simply keeping my guard up a little more than I do at the moment. Anyway, so yellow belt, green stripe with my shin guards and my mouth guard at the ready. I'm actually really looking forward to practicing more sparring over the next few months, and hopefully I know enough basic offensive and defensive techniques so as not to get my head battered too much. The thought of having to go into work the next day with a black eye just isn't appealing at all. So I think I've bored you all to tears enough for now. So thanks for watching, and see you guys later.